Last week was a very eventful one. Major events such as the New Japan Cup final took place, and the details regarding the departing talents from Stardom became more clear. Newsworthy weeks don't always translate into great wrestling matches though, and I think that was the case for the major companies especially. Nevertheless, I still found a handful of matches I wanted to talk about. As always, keep in mind that I haven't seen every single match to have taken place, and the ones I do choose to talk about are all based on my personal enjoyment and nothing else. A slight spoiler warning, as I will be talking about match finishes here too. After watching 66 matches spanning 12 promotions, here are a few of my favorites from the last week. I can't say that I follow TNA on a weekly basis, though seeing a Time Splitters tag on the books is something I'll always go out of the way for. With the news breaking of the Motor City Machine Gun's departure, this match could very well be the last time Shelley and Kushida team up for the foreseeable future. In a rematch from the 2020 Dusty Cup, they took on Grizzled Young Vets in a fun TV match that began abruptly out of an angle. Once everyone settled in, Time Splitters take over with an aggressive shift from Alex Shelley specifically. Commentary points out his growing frustration since losing the World Championship, and he expresses that through some more heelish tendencies that his team's alignment would suggest. At multiple points, he can be seen talking smack to Zach Gibson while on the apron, or taking shots at the targeted arm of James Drake as the illegal competitor. This twists the dynamic of the match to where both teams carry an edge to their targeted offense, trading extended control segments within the 13-minute runtime. As Time Splitters did extensive work on Drake, the favor is returned to Shelley upon the tag, and it falls into a similar rhythm. The trading of momentum runs through Alex Shelley, whose selling of the knee is just as effective as his work on top. GYV offers some snappy combination offense to further their strategy, and Zach Gibson's constant barking complements their attitude. Shelley is able to get the hot tag to Kushida after reversing a hold on the targeted knee as the match accelerates into its final third. It's an exciting final stretch, and it makes sense to put the focus on Kushida as he still will be under TNA contract. Kushida reverses a Doomsday device with a Tanaka punch while in the electric chair position, allowing Time Splitters to hit a shell shock and hoverboard back-to-back for the win. If I had a gripe with the match, it's that the Tanaka punch spot looked a little weird to me, but that's a minor qualm for what was a solid TV match. It's an easy watch featuring some nice limb work from both teams. The sentiment of this one being it's one of, if not the last time we see Time Splitters for a long time, certainly elevates it for me, and I think giving Kushida the victory puts him in a position to go after Mustafa Ali in the future. Give this one a shot. It's currently up for free on TNA's YouTube page. The semifinals of the Ring of Honor Women's World Television Championship took place this week, and both matches were pretty good. Following a solid Mercedes Martinez-Billy Starks match was a bit of a sleeper hit between Queen Aminata and Red Velvet. Aminata has continued her run of form since her appearances on AEW television and contributed to one of the better Red Velvet matches I can remember. I think a lot of that success is found through a simple and effective approach. After some early mat exchanges, the strength and speed dynamic between the two is highlighted, as Velvet attempts to escape all of Aminata's throws and suplexes. They're cleanly executed, though the escapes come off rough enough to where they feel earned. Aminata is great as a powerhouse here, and Velvet needs to make the most of her openings. She does so by throwing some body shots, and the match begins to turn into a slugfest. At just short of 10 minutes, this is a real breeze of a watch that escalates in intensity between the striking and all the high impact offense both in and outside of the ring. I also really like the finish. As the two are swinging for the fences, Aminata throws a headbutt for a sudden victory. That sort of near knockout makes Aminata look very strong, while still leaving Velvet in the runnings as a potential title defense. I think this is another case where had this taken place on AEW television, I think it'd have a lot more buzz surrounding it. Though I think with the influence of Mercedes Moné, the division clearly has the pieces to feature more in-ring quality on a weekly basis. They clearly have something here with Queen Aminata, and I hope they make good on her potential. But for now, we do have a very promising final at Supercard of Honor between Starks and Aminata, and I look forward to both of them continuing their run of momentum. Speaking of Slugfest, we have another one in a bit of an unlikely scenario, as two bona fide heavyweights went head-to-head at the latest Mochizuki Produce Buyuden show from Dragongate. Shuji Ishikawa makes a guest appearance in his newfound status as freelancer, taking on Big Boss Shimizu in the main event. From the jump, there's a unique aspect to this match. Big Boss Shimizu is rarely at a size disadvantage in his home promotion, and Ishikawa towers over him here. Luckily, Big Boss is great in an underdog role when afforded, and his demeanor and natural charisma have a hot crowd in Shinjuku face behind him. Ishikawa punishes Shimizu in the opening minutes. Some of the more brutal examples include a sliding dropkick to the face, a draping DDT onto the floor, and a sick-looking giant driver onto the ring apron. Shimizu is determined to gain some ground through sheer force, and the rest of the match is dedicated to every comeback attempt, only for Ishikawa to cut him off with massive offense. It's simple, yet the visuals of these two hitting high-angle suplexes on each other is never lost on me. It's another concept that doesn't need to be complicated. Two large dudes beating the hell out of each other is all you need sometimes. The crowd investment in Shimizu does give it a bit more, as he is incredibly likable and I genuinely wanted to see him pull off the victory. Unfortunately, Ishikawa would stop Shimizu in his tracks, hitting a giant slam, which is basically a straitjacket Olympic slam for the victory. I've enjoyed all I've seen of Ishikawa since his departure from All Japan, and this ass kicker against the Big Boss is no exception. We wrap up this week with yet another entry from Kung Fu Master's run in the Rey de Parejas tournament. This time they faced the D-Courage pairing of Madoka Kikuta and Dragon Daya in the main event of Night 9. Daya and Kikuta bring a similar balance of speed and strength, just at greater extremes compared to their opponents. Daya is ridiculously fast, and Kikuta is a bulldozer in this match. The opening exchanges here show that you can't really go wrong with any combination of these four, though it really gets good when Jason Lee takes control over Dragon Daya. Kung Fu Masters take their time here, and as the beatdown continues, the looming threat of Kikuta only grows. He will get in this match at some point, and when he does, it doesn't bode well for vibes. Daya hangs in long enough to get that opening, and Kikuta enters the match and wrecks everyone. He's awesome in this spot, especially when using his signature hip attacks. The ensuing exchange with Jackie shifts the momentum back to D-Courage as the pace of the match quickly escalates. This stretch is full of the high speed and hard-hitting offense you'd want, though as it reaches its peak, a ref bump leads to some interference from Z-Brats. Normally this wouldn't be something I'm a fan of, though I thought they handled this well. Shun Skywalker enters the ring and causes some friendly fire between Jackie and Jason. Jason gets physical out of frustration and it nearly cost them the match. With these instances of miscommunication happening more frequently, I appreciate that they did enough to keep this interesting. Having Shun cause this also contributes to the vibes in Z-Brat's rivalry as the babyface unit continues to splinter. I completely bit on the near fall, as these mishaps have already costed them results, though a reversal into the Jackie knife secured the points for vibes. At 18 minutes, this is on the longer side, though between the extended control segment and the Z-Brats angle, I think it works for me. All four wrestlers work incredibly well in general, making a contender for the match of the tournament in my opinion. You can find this one for free from the March 24th YouTube digest on Dragongate's channel. And before I go, here are some honorable mentions. Kung Fu Masters vs KZ and UT from Dragongate, March 18th. I talked enough Dragongate on this episode already, but I thought the Vibes vs Vibes match was very good, and I thought the friendly fire between Jackie and Jason leading directly to the pinfall was the right story beat at this stage. Akitoshi Saito and Jun Akiyama vs Shuji Ishikawa and Ren Ayabe from Noah, March 20th. My favorite match from the second Limit Break show. It's long at 20 minutes, but I liked a lot of what they did here. Akiyama pulled off an electric chair superplex which just absolutely rocked. And last but not least, the New Japan Cup Final from New Japan, March 20th. I like this for what it was. Goto is clearly a steady hand, and I'm really glad that they gave this CO to Shuji. I didn't think it was anything remarkable, but with New Japan right now, anything decent is welcome. And that is it from me. If you got this far into the video, thank you so much for your time and for hearing what I have to say. Be sure to do all the obligatory YouTube stuff by liking and subscribing, and find me on Twitter or Blue Sky at Outer Stevan. Let me know if I missed anything worth checking out, and I will talk to you again next week.